Hello, AP Psychology students, and welcome to our last two sections of this chapter here on development. We're doing adulthood, and the Wellsprings of resilience is just one little slide. So let's talk about adulthood here. Something you're going to be going into soon. So you guys are young adults, and you're getting close to it, and someday you're going to be paying bills and making all kinds of money. That's my kid's money. She paid me. And you're going to call it adulting, which is just doing normal things. We're not going to praise you for it. You don't get praise for doing what you're supposed to. So Erik Erikson, who lived from 1902 to 1994, believed that adults had stages or crises too to get through. That basically, we have all these crises of basically identity of who we are, and they start from birth and go all the way to death. So basically, when you're 0 to 1 years old, you have to learn basic trust or mistrust. If when you cry, is someone going to take care of you? Somebody going to hold you? From ages 1 to 3, it's autonomy versus doing your own thing versus shame and doubt. Putting your own shoes on, putting your clothes on, or do you always need help? Can't do it. Need help. Initiative and guilt, 3 to 5. This is where kids are little busy bees and they want to do stuff and they want to make stuff and they want to, create and paint and finger paint and make messes. Can they do that, or do they screw up and then they feel guilty because they messed up all the time? Industry versus inferiority. Same thing kind of continues in the grade school. Kids like to work. They like to do things, especially age 5 to 11. They like to make things. They like to do things and learn and progress. Or do they figure out that I'm no good? Why try? So moving on here, identity versus role confusion, which is what you're probably in 11 to 18 is who are you? Are you an athlete? Are you a nerdy kid? Are you a smarty pants? That's not very nice of me. Are you a scholar? Are you a band kid? Are you a partier? Are you fun? Are you popular? Who are you? And a lot of times we define it by our clothes, who we hang out with, the things we do. And then you go to college and you really got to figure out who are you. That can continue into adulthood. Next is intimacy versus isolation. 18 to 40 years old, you have to choose: do I, live by myself? If you're a woman, do you collect cats? If you're a man, you collect comic books, or do you share your life with someone else? Here's me and my wife at age 23. One of our first dates actually, and so we chose intimacy. And then you get to middle ages, where you're generativity versus stagnation. Do you basically redo your life? Do you figure something out? Do you change course, change careers, or do you just kind of do the same thing and keep coasting on towards retirement? And then finally, integrity versus despair. From 65 years on, do you look back, do you reflect on your life and go, you know what, I've had a good life, and so you have integrity going towards the end, or you despair? Do you count your days down like a prison sentence because you didn't get the things done, you didn't achieve the goals that you wanted to do? So Erikson recognized cultural and economic factors were a big part of a lot of this, especially with, trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. Transitions can be prolonged, and not everybody goes through all of these stages as well. He showed development is never finished. That no matter what, we are an incomplete work. We are always changing. We're always going through something. It never gets easier. Stages could occur out of order or not at all. You might have a midlife crisis, an identity crisis of who you are. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe there's a loss of a spouse or something like that. And so suddenly you don't know who you are. Identity crisis is not limited to the teenage years either. I dealt with one during quarantine. Lost the ability to teach, lost the ability to coach, couldn't travel, just stuck at home. Really kind of questioned, who am I? I grew a beard for 5 months and grew my hair out for 5 months and looked like a mountain man. Wasn't me. Got back to my clean shaven look here from my first year of teaching, and I feel like I'm myself again because I'm doing my job. Is there a social clock? Is there an age where you should get married? Go to college, graduate, get married, have kids. You guys have been learning this since you were, little kindergartners. So and so and so and so sitting in a tree. Kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the baby and the baby carriage. So you've been taught the social clock for a long time. So think about it. What age should you get married? If you want to. What age should you start having kids? There's this window where you want to do it. You don't want to be too old. You don't want to be too young. You want to get your career going. You want to go to college. You want to enjoy marriage. And so there's this window, because as you get older, having kids gets riskier and riskier. And then the older you are, the more difficult it is to raise little kids because they have lots of energy. And as you get older, you don't have as much energy. So, emerging adulthood. Many young people, millennials, and now Zoomers, are especially in industrialized nations, don't feel like adults. They're delaying adulthood into their 20s, mid 20s, late 20s now, where they're still living at home, where they don't feel like they're an adult. And this is why I think people today say they're adulting, which is just paying your bills and making a doctor's appointment, voting. That's stuff we all do. We don't brag about it. Well, maybe we do because of social media. They're sort of in limbo between living as a teenager and an adult. If you're 40 something years old living in your parents' basement playing video games, or you have 47 cats, there's probably a problem. You need to figure something out. Social cultural factors weigh into. Some cultures it's okay, some cultures push you out. It kind of depends, and you got to figure it out. By the way, if you're wondering, we got married at age 26. That's a good age. Middle years. I'm a middle adult. Oh boy. 35 to 65. This is the time of the greatest psychological well-being. This is when you are the happiest. You have the best health. You're the most productive. You're most involved with the community. You look like a touristy dad at Disney World taking your kids there. I mean, if you put the name placard right here, Clark W. Griswold, I'm pretty much Clark W. Griswold from vacation here. That's what parents do. There are crises, though, in the midlife crisis because they're not caused by aging, but life-changing events. People kind of panic about, hey, I'm halfway through my life or over halfway through my life, and I didn't do this and this and this, and I don't like my job, and I'm not happy, and so people freak out and get a Trans Am and a mullet and a Budweiser and cruise and go to the bar and pick up an 18-year-old. You can't go to the bar and pick up 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds. So I mean, they're weird. For women, menopause, losing the ability to reproduce isn't as bad as most portrayed by most women. Now, I'm not an older woman who's been through menopause, so I don't know. There are hot flashes and things like that. And, it happens. Some people very early, some people very late, but that's something that happens to women that they have to deal with. And then old age. The fastest growing portion of our population is over the age of 85. I am not over the age of 65, so I have my mom and my stepdad and my real dad and my stepmom here. Gerontologists, geriatrics, study aging in old people. They find that mental processes slow with age, especially the speed of cognitive processing. Fluid intelligence, the ability to learn new information, also slows with age. So it's really hard to teach an old dog new tricks. It's actually true. Crystal intelligence, basically the things that stick with you, knowledge and skills built over a lifetime, seems to remain stable. Active lifestyles, positive outlooks, avoiding excessive smoking, drinking, and avoiding the coronavirus all help. You can delay the effects of aging through mental stimulation and just a positive outlook and being healthy from 64 to 95. They say 70 is the new 60 or whatever, and then people keep pushing it back. It all depends on your perspective and how you handle things. I know this is a long ways off for you, but you might want to think about it. Be healthy. So, we all suffer. Nobody's going to get out of this life unscathed. Life's going to beat you up. It's going to wear you down. It's going to take away your hope. You're going to lose your loved ones. You're going to see people that you care about leave your life either emotionally or physically because they pass on. You have to find a way to deal with it. Find healthy ways to cope with it and get through those things. You can't depend on chemicals all the time. You can't always depend on others. You need to find ways to cope yourself. Never give up. As Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, if you ever get to the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. So if you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot, hang on, find something positive, get involved. True happiness comes from helping other people. That's my advice for today. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll be moving on to chapter 4 and neurobiological and all parts of the brain. Hope you learned something about development.